Oh man, you motherfuckers.
Starting off hot.
Where to begin? We had a whole bunch of good shit we was talking about. Oh, by the way, this is a test run podcast on Groove Quest Network or Quest Groove Network.
We can start from the top if you want.
Yeah, my bad.
Welcome.
What up, Cave? Man, we were talking a whole bunch of good shit, and let's continue. So, Dame Lillard, I don't care what y'all say or what he says. I think he's lying to y'all. He's definitely leaving. Because first of all, I don't know why he wanted Melo there. I don't care how much people say Melo brought something to the NBA, brought something to like that culture and that span. He doesn't need to be there. They need to get rid of that and make more space for a player that can help. And CJ McCollum got to get the fuck out of there or something. He's not doing anything to help this guy out. It's literally just Dame out there doing his thing, and that's it. And that was like last year too, to keep them into the season to like make the playoffs. I don't know. I just think there's definitely going to be a change in Oregon after this season, because I'm pretty sure if they lose to Denver, which I'm pretty sure they will.
Yeah, at the time of this recording, they're down 2-3 to Denver, correct?
3-2, you mean? Oh, either way.
Well, they're down 2. Yeah,
I was like,
they're down 3-2. Dame's the best shooting point guard of all time. That could be a hot take, but I think those of you who know me, not a huge fan of basketball of this era. And me and you have talked a lot lately about why I hate the NBA right now. And it's bona fide unwatchable for me. But there are a handful of players, not even a handful, a sprinkle of players that make me, the kid in me, come out to play when I watch said game. And Dame is one of those players. It's Kawhi, Dame, and I'm a fan of Giannis, even though I have some gripes with Giannis and the way the Bucks are constructed, but that's neither here nor there. Dame, to me, is a grown-ass man. Dame, to me, is a professional. And he acts like he's been there before. You know what I mean? And like, he's our age. You said you played against him in college. He's from our era. To me, he's paid his dues. He's stuck in Portland. He doesn't go chase a ring with some, let me link up with this star. He needs to now. We're about to talk about that.
I do think that's going to change.
I don't want Dame to have a legacy of being so good and clutch. Like literally one of the.
Oh no! Did you see the threes that he made?
This dude, and like Austin Rivers is
overtime twice.
Yeah, he's praying like this guy can't miss. He's a bona fide superstar in my opinion, and we could even talk
about Hall of Famer for she's first.
Oh yeah, easily. And the problem, and this is why I always kind of get into it with people about like the Tracy McGrady argument is how many rings does he have? Well, look at their damn situations. I'm not saying Dame hasn't been surrounded with like no talent his whole career, and he's just, I think CJ McCollum is good. I personally don't like having two combo guards who are under 6'5" at the 1 and 2. I think Dame can handle both roles, scorer and passer, and that's one thing I love about Dame. He doesn't just look to score; he scores when called upon, and he can score any possession. But I don't see him doing the dancing and like just the auto, shotgun ratchet that like Steph Curry has, or Jimmer Fredette. Like, Dame lets the game come.
Jimmer Fredette's bad to put in this.
Well, because I remember Jimmer and Steph in college, at least Davidson and BYU, when they give it up, they want it right back. Like they're not facilitating any type of offense except for themselves. And Dame, like, oh, he's going to stroll past half court. Oh, you're not going to pick him up. He's just going to literally launch from like a little bit inside half court. And when he gets in his bag, he gets in his absolute bag. I think Dame could play in any era. He's literally becoming one of my favorite point guards of all time. And I feel like the casuals or the people who really care about rings and that whole argument. Dame has zero chance of winning a ring in this era, in his era, with the current circumstances of how teams are constructed. He needs help. Dame needs help.
No, for sure. I don't know. Something's gonna. He's either out of there or they're getting rid of C.J. McCollum and Carmelo's Anthony. There's no reason to keep them. They don't impact the game at all. They don't. I don't know why he was fighting for Carmelo to really be in the league still. Maybe just legacy, but there's really no reason Carmelo should be there.
You don't think he deserves a spot on that team or in the rotation?
Do you? I think that's a waste of money. I think that's because in my opinion, yeah, maybe he could help out, some younger player. Definitely don't need to help out Dame. Dame's been doing his thing since. Dame's the one that championed for Melo to be there, not because they need him. He might have said that, but I think more because he wanted Melo to continue his career and get the recognition he deserves at his later years as of now. But no, I don't see a reason for Carmelo to be there. I don't see any reason, any support he brings for this, his 10, 12 points he's averaged. Maybe 15 on a good night. I just don't see the reason for that. That spot could go to someone else that they could pick up to actually help them out. Because like you said, there's two under 6'5" guards that what does that do? They're both combo guards. You're not going to luck out how you did with Golden State and get a combo guard as your point guard and then have probably one of the greatest shooters of all time, catch and shoot and off screens, and just, Klay Thompson at 6'7" that could play defense. That's going to be very rare to come by today, as far as that, because everybody wants to dance, how you said. And Dame doesn't dance how Curry dances. Dame's actually just trying to attack. It may seem at times he might dribble a lot, but he's really not. He's just trying to just get to the basket or get his 3-point off or get his jumper off. That's really it. So they definitely got to clear up some space and get someone there. I don't know who, but something has to happen.
Well,
I think win a chip.
Right. I just like with the McCollum thing, it's just a philosophy difference for me. I don't personally like having a ball dominant combo guard as like your number one scoring option. In a sense, I guess, but conceptually, I don't want two of them as my number one and two option on the court at the same time. I think McCollum's a fine player. I think he could fit on a different roster. But when Dame is literally the same player but better in every aspect of the game, McCollum needs to be like his backup, or he needs to be like a six man where he can come in and just because he'll give you 20 in like throughout quietly throughout the game or the regular season. But then McCollum is like he needs the ball in his hands to kind of create for himself too. And again, I think Dame's a point guard that can score, and if anything, he's the best of both worlds as a combo guard. So he's a very kind of an exception to the rule. McCollum is a combo guard in the sense that he's short, can't really guard everybody, and he can't make plays for others like that, and he's just looking to score. So, and McCollum can't score at the clip of Dame, and so having him out there with Dame is just a detriment to like the ceiling that they can reach.
For sure.
So he needs to be a spot up shooter or a utility type player next to Dame. That's like when they got Robert Covington, I was like, okay, that's a good pickup for them because he's like a 3-and-D player. I didn't get a chance to watch live that game last night, Nuggets Blazers, but I was seeing the highlights and I heard Covington missed a wide open power dunk under the rim or something to him and McCollum both kind of flubbed at the end of that game when Dame has a record-setting performance. But I thought Robert Covington was going to be a nice pickup because he kind of fits the modern-day mold of a 3-and-D wing defender. My issue with Carmelo is I think Carmelo can still he can get you a bucket here or there in isolation. He's not the worst defender. He's smart. He's obviously not athletic like he used to be. But
he's never really been athletic. I think he's had athleticism, but he's never been crazy athletic.
So now he's old, but to me, he basically is just another Morris twin out there.
Oh, for sure. That's what I look at it as, and I think he could deal without that.
So, like, who are you replacing him with? Because the NBA, it's so top heavy that who else is there to replace him with? Like, what kind of player would you surround Dame with if he was to stay in Portland? What kind of players would fit, you think, his style?
Oh, easy, 3-and-D. And that Melo, you say he plays D, but he's really not a D.
I think he's a smart defender because he can't.
That's cool, but he's never. I don't even think he's really been on a defensive team at all. So that I could deal with that. I could get rid of that.
It's definitely not a strength, but to me, it's not a weakness per se. That's all I'm
saying. I mean, like that's in today's league. Yeah, you're right, because hardly anyone's playing D. But
right. I mean, when I watch Cam Johnson switch out for the Suns on LeBron, he can't play any defense on the perimeter at all. Like Carmelo's not completely, on another planet playing D. That's all I'm saying. But like, do you have any players in mind who would fit with Dame? Like the kind of player that you like, would you just surround him with 3-and-D shooters like you would a LeBron? Or does he need another guy, like a bigger guy?
No. I think he needs someone to attack. I just don't think it's CJ McCollum. I think because CJ McCollum has been a multiple-time All-Star, and I think maybe ego. I'm not saying they've ever clashed like that. Maybe they have. Maybe they haven't. We don't know. But if there has been, I think that could be an issue with some of this. Ego may be there somewhere, but I think he needs another player. I could even see Lou Will being on this team as the sixth man. How we said he needs a sixth man. I think he needs someone to come in as that second unit and really take over. I'm not saying Lou Will per se is someone like that, because Lou Will, I think, and also in his later years and after last year and probably this year, he hasn't really been putting up his performances as his past six-man awards. As far as the Carmelo stuff, I'm sorry about that. I'm not too sure. I didn't really put that much thought into it, so bring it up right now. But I mean, there's probably a plethora of players that could give you 3-and-D, maybe even a little bit more efficient. I'm just saying Carmelo's a little bit too old, I feel like, right now to really help this team out. And I haven't really been watching that many games because they keep putting the Portland and Denver game on NBA TV, so they're not really catching it like that. But whenever I do catch it, I mean, it doesn't seem Melo's doing much in the box scores either. So, I mean, I feel like you could obviously get rid of that and add something. But either way, I think either Dame's out of there or CJ McCollum is.
Yeah, I think, it's a shame that this series is arguably one of the best ones so far.
Oh, yeah. After they should have put that on yesterday during ferocious blowout by the Suns to the Lakers yesterday. That they should have switched it. I'd rather have saw the last 2 minutes of the double overtime, and that's in the Portland Nuggets series and the fucking Lakers and Suns game.
Yeah, for sure. I think Dame, like we said, it would be a shame if he gets 0 rings. I also think he potentially deserves an MVP. But like he even said, like, he can't get an MVP if he's like the 8th seed or whatever, or no, he was talking about Steph Curry saying, if I can't get an MVP as like an 8th seed, don't even think about putting Curry in the MVP candidate, race, because he was in the play-in. And so that would be like the fact that Curry was getting like the love of a potential MVP candidate, and Dame's not, when they were in the same situation, like, not a bona fide top 5 playoff team, right, shows a little bit of politics. But I love Dame's game, and I love the fact that, like I said, he's a grown ass man. We were talking off air before we were starting the pod about like there's a bunch of children in the NBA, like maturity wise, and there's just no pros. And I miss the OGs, like the Antonio McDyces, you know what I mean? Like just dudes who, like, even as much as I didn't like Andre Miller, Aaron McKee, Eric Snow, those kinds of players.
I like Andre Miller. I think he was a real solid player, to be honest with you.
Real solid player. Just couldn't stand watching him like later in his career, kind of meandering and doing pump fakes and stuff.
That's
my
someone
personal
who
style.
Dame needs.
See, but like I feel like Dame, unfortunately, is like one of the only.
I'm just talking about his 2 guard or his 1 or 2 guard. That way he can cook, but yeah, he has someone who can actually see the floor and facilitate outside of just someone who's trying to get a bucket the same as him.
I
like that, but
I do think he doesn't need another similar scorer, an undersized similar scorer next to him at the 2. I think it either has to be a facilitator, a defender, or like a pure off-ball shooter.
Yeah.
Because also he gets double teamed a lot, and he rightfully so passes.
He still makes shit happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When he has to, he'll go and take on the double team and create for himself. Again, we're in a small ball era, and Nurkic is like they're big. I just don't really know if you have like small guards and then one kind of unathletic big man. It's just so much to ask of Dame. Like, I would just love to see him like on the Bucks with Giannis and Chris Middleton. If we're talking like, we're in an era of big threes, that would be like my favorite big 3 that you could assemble, because I feel like also their games would complement each other. You have a shooter and then Giannis who can create kind of as this big combo freak of nature. But at the same time, him and Giannis both are like, I'm trying to build, for this city and trying to do it organically. At some point, one of them, we've talked about this too. I don't like ring chase. I think Kevin Durant's a snake from, inside the lines, on the wood, outside. Let's grab a burger, Kevin. But, I have kind of no respect for him as a basketball, like his legacy in a sense, because how do you go and join the big kid on the block when you can't beat them? Those rings mean nothing to me. And I was talking to a goon at the gym. Shout out Mike. Shout out Vincent Viola, his billionaire friend. That Kevin Durant, he's telling me, this and that. And I'm just like, dude, I don't care when you go and link up with the best or like your friends who are top 5 at their position. Shout out LeBron. But I don't mind when you have
that's your boy. I've been telling you, that's your boy.
I don't mind when you have like a dude like Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett past their primes a little bit. Not saying they were washed, but they were past their primes, and then organically, with trades, they don't just get to pluck from this team and put them on that team. When you're over the hill and you're trying to get a ring, it makes it a little bit more easier to swallow, obviously. But
so Dame, we're about to get into that what you just brought up. You brought it up without knowing, but we'll get right.
So to end, before I let you go off, Dame needs to at some point, if he doesn't want to hear that part about his legacy, about not winning a ring and everything, he's going to have to go chase one. But he's already, maybe he's at the peak of his game right now, so it's gonna, he's not going to have a 4-year window in literally his peak with a team that should win it all. So it's unfortunate, but so it's unfortunate, but we'll see what happens, and he may not even go do that. So, but what did I bring up that was so profound?
So the Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce thing, and the ring he did it without knowing. But your boy Danny Ainge, talk about stepping down. A few pods ago, probably at the beginning of when we started test run, I said, no one's taking a look at management and the shit Danny Ainge is doing. We keep blaming the players, but no one's looking at him. And I guarantee you there's probably something said behind closed doors. They were saying, hey, man, this might be your last season. Either you step down or we're going to have to fire you. And I guarantee you that's it. So I think there's definitely going to be a new management there. Someone's definitely going to help out and maybe get the Celtics on track. I personally don't care if they get better or not, but I think that was pretty important to say because I never thought he was a good GM to begin with. I think the reason they won their first, the only championship they had in so many years was because they just put that big 3 together. They wanted to go there. It wasn't because Danny Ainge wanted to do that or whatever that was, or he's the reason why that all came to be. No, they didn't even pay Ray Allen to stay for stay longer so they could even compete again during the Miami Heat LeBron. When they definitely were putting up fights with that. So, I'm just glad that's happening. Maybe the Celtics can finally figure out something and get a real GM in there instead of someone who's just has some claim to fame with the Celtics and had a nice career, won a few championships under Larry Bird.
Well, so you don't think Danny Ainge did a good job?
No.
And B, I heard Brad Stevens is taking over like president of operations, basketball operations.
And see,
so he's not coaching there anymore.
Wow. Well,
that's what I heard.
Either way, well, he can because Doc Rivers did that with the Clippers. He was the president and coach. I mean, so he may do. I didn't hear that till you brought it up. So maybe coaching and does both, but he needs to get the hell out of here too. I mean, we saw the experiment. It worked twice, and that was it. After that, it kind of went downhill from there. I think he lost control of the locker room, and they didn't want to hear from him no more. So they probably wanted someone else to get in there and figure that shit out for him. But, that's my little soliloquy.
So, yeah, Adrian Wojnarowski, however, the plug for the NBA.
Right.
Stevens has been described as worn down with coaching since the bubble and welcomed the chance to make the transition to the front office. Stevens will help lead the search for his successor as head coach. So, if he is in fact moving forward, I think we've talked about the Celtics on, like you said, on a few pods, and they hit the jackpot by winning the championship. Also helps when Kevin McHale allows Kevin Garnett to go to the Boston. So GM, you have to have connections.
Right.
So Danny Ainge pulled the trigger. He made that happen. They won a championship. Should have won multiple. Injuries, blah blah blah. But after that, he unloads Paul Pierce and Garnett, and they flubbed with Ray Allen as well. But they did retool their team to be somewhat of a contender, and then the Isaiah Thomas thing popped. But then they're thinking they're a point guard away potentially. Kyrie flops. Kemba isn't and then Gordon Hayward gets injured super bad. So I feel like he's swung for the fences more than other GMs or other teams have. And I think at the very least, they've been competitive for the last 10 years, which is more to say than the Pistons. They are irrelevant. And so to me, I think a lot of franchises would have taken that one championship and then a decade of, postseason. It's sort of like how the Raptors were postseason, behemoths. Regular season behemoths, they get to the postseason every year, but they can't get past LeBron or a powerhouse. But then when they finally win it with Kawhi, it all kind of, it's all forgiven in a sense. It's sort of reversed with the Celtics. They won it early when everything culminated, and then they just been bounced in the first round or whatever, second round for last few years. But I think we've talked about how they need a shakeup, and Brad Stevens can, make it work with some of those younger Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, college type players. And it resonated probably really well with them early. But then sometimes you get to a level of monotony, like a stale state for a franchise, and you just need some kind of, something to be shaken up. And it doesn't, to me, reflect on Brad Stevens isn't a good coach or anything. But it's like in the NFL, almost the worst thing you could do is go 7-9 every year because you're not good enough to win a championship and you're not bad enough to be able to really overhaul your franchise. And so I feel like the Celtics kind of were stuck in that mediocrity, albeit they were in the postseason, a fake contender for a few years. So shout out Danny Ainge. Met him in Vegas when I was a kid. He's around this area. My boy Danny. He's probably tuned into the pod right now. No ill will here, Danny.
But to add on to your point, I don't know. I think Brad Stevens, I think we give him a little bit too much credit. I think he got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown at a young age as far as 2-3 years in the league. Then they realized how good they were. And like I said, he lost control over the locker room. And Isaiah Thomas, I really do believe that we give the credit to Isaiah Thomas for kind of overcoming that. But I think Brad Stevens was the reason Isaiah was able to do the things he was able to do before his hip surgery or his hip injury because of that system he put him into. So I think that right there is his stint of being a great basketball mind. And what he did, obviously, when he was coaching in college, that was amazing for being Butler, a mid-major, to go all the way to the to the championship twice. But NBA, obviously, we know it's different. Not many college coaches have great success. And I think what he did do, I think that was to say a lot about his coaching skill. But I think now it's just, if that's true, they just need to move on from that. I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are way too big now. And I think that their skill requires someone who's actually going to take them to that next level. Even though they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals at a young age and accomplished that goal with him, there's just someone else that needs to take them over that hump.
I think, no, I agree. And I don't know if I mentioned on a previous pod or not, but I think it's worth me saying again. I read somewhere that made the analogy basically like he's a coach that gets the most out of his Honda Accord, but he doesn't really know how to drive a Ferrari. So Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were both Honda Accords early in their career, and he's maximizing their potential. And that Celtics group, as more so, was a super reliable Honda Accord, and he just, he made it way better than it should have performed. And then when those big dogs turn into big dogs, when those little guys, then you can't put the same kind of gas, or you can't, be on the same, I don't know much about cars. This is a bad analogy, but my point is, he's not a coach who can like you said, take those players to the next level. And when they get to the next level, you can't treat those dudes like you did at Butler or early in their career. It's just, so his coaching style, I don't want to say it has a ceiling, but you can't mold Kyrie Irving into Isaiah Thomas's role, or you know what I mean? And I don't want to act like I know all their X's and O's and their scheme. I don't watch basketball in the NBA enough in general to even really know, but I do know, just speaking from fact, that we played for so long, that coaching is sometimes less about X's and O's, and it's more about how you deal with players and their egos, and how you massage their role in playing with others. And so, Brad Stevens, if you're listening to the pod, no ill will here either. I think it's interesting that they're acting like he's just going to be some great, president of basketball operations.
I can't see that either. But
I don't know how that just translates to an automatic, you're our guy choosing our players forward, if that's like a GM role. But maybe we should go into coaching and just work our way up the ladder.
Right. Oh man. But best of luck to all of them. I want to get into it. Maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't.
LeBron's a bitch. What?
Yeah, that shit. Told y'all. I told you, motherfuckers. I told you.
What'd you tell him?
AD is
the best player on their team. You did tell him that. Yes, you did.
If you get hurt too much, you can't be the best player on the team because you're unreliable. That means something. He been hurt literally the whole year. They posted his injury account this whole year. It was like 7 or 8 injuries throughout the whole year that he's missed. That made him miss basically the entire season. If he was hurt, yeah, different. Obviously, we saw them win their 2 games. He had 34 around each game. But that doesn't. If you're hurt, what does that really mean in a 7-game series? It'd be one thing if he got hurt at the beginning of the of the series, but I can't give him best player on this team for being hurt too much. Like I feel like he should have played the last game. I think you explained to me something about him sidestepping. His game doesn't involve sidestepping. So I don't know. I think the series may be over, maybe not. Maybe LeBron could will them to something, maybe. I don't really care too much.
My thing about Anthony Davis, real quick, is when the dude's healthy and when he's on the floor, and in the NBA, again, this is a soft ass, weak ass, pussy ass era where if you are in a playoff game, you've already made $100 million. So you're playing for legacy. You've already won a championship too.
You're
So
playing for your sponsors at this point, I feel like.
so like, and I was talking to shout out Mike the Kid at the gym, but like, so Anthony Davis is built like lately from glass. I mean, he breaks everything, and it's not just like one recurring injury that like, damn, he just can't get over that knee injury, like a Derrick Rose or something, or something catastrophic that like it's his back and it's his back again. It's literally like you said, something different every time. And so he goes for a routine kind of layup or whatever and hurts his groin. It looks like it's his knee. He'll step on, it's his ankle. Oh, now it's his shoulder. Oh, now it's his, vaginal bone. I don't know. He's a great player, is what I'm saying, when he's on the court. Like you said, durability and, availability. You can't be the best player if you're not available. And Charles Barkley, was saying, I don't even know how they let him warm up. He should have been getting treatment in LA. I don't know why they made him go to Phoenix, like go through warm up, see if he's okay. To me, again, this team is built around LeBron, but really for another superstar like Anthony Davis to be able to have all the pieces around him and LeBron James, and then him be able to just go to work and get you 30, and have no fear. So without that piece, I think the Lakers have literally zero chance to win a title. And you see that LeBron,
with all those bums they got around him.
And that's the thing is, so LeBron, they build a team around him. And you called me, we talked about this. They build a team around him with just 3-and-D players. And that means spot up 3-and-D, not create your own shot 3-and-D, because LeBron needs ball in his hands. And so last night was a perfect opportunity for him to say, you know what, I'm going to go get 50, because I'm not going to give the ball to Markieff Morris or whatever Morris twin plays for them. I'm going to give it to Talon Thornton Hucker or whatever his name is.
Your boy McLemore,
who forgot how to dribble and, literally doesn't know how to play basketball anymore. Wes Matthews, Caruso's not. I mean, all of them can shoot, but they're all not shooters.
Knockdown shooters, yeah.
So,
and real quick, you brought
LeBron's fault
too. And LeBron was looking for a third player as an option.
Yeah, he wanted Kawhi. He wanted someone else. So this is completely on LeBron's shoulders. You traded the whole core of an already kind of, a team that was growing together with Lonzo and Brandon Ingram and Kuzma. Kuzma, what are you doing out there, dog?
I think he really wants to be traded. I really do think that's what he's trying to do, just get the fuck out of there. And maybe it might work for him. I think what we see of him now is definitely who he is as a player. But I get it. Probably playing with LeBron this past season and playing with AD hurt and shit like that. It probably took a tamper on him, but hey man, it's the league.
It's really, to me, it kind of boils down to those of you who hoop at the gym. You see a player who isn't just a spot up shooter. They need the ball to create for themselves. And when they don't get it for a handful of possessions, when they finally get it, they just mix their guy and then go in and throw some bullshit. That's literally what it looks like for the whole Lakers roster when they play with LeBron, because LeBron is the guy. So it should be 5 out. LeBron's the guy who runs in and he creates and then kicks it to a shooter, and then he either makes it or misses. That's how LeBron wants the offense to be ran. He's the best player ever to a lot of you goons out there. So if your offense is predicated on him being the one and sole distributor and facilitator of said offense, you have to surround him with just shooters and people who play defense. Very niche. They didn't necessarily do that. And again, the NBA, you shouldn't be able to just pluck the best spot up shooters from every team. So they couldn't go and get, I guess they could have JJ Redick. They didn't keep Danny Green, who people hated him last year or the year before. When he doesn't make it, he's trash. When he catches fire, he's awesome. But point being, I think LeBron needs to go on the block. And you see this on the Suns. Chris Paul doesn't just dribble for 30 seconds, 24-second shot clock.
Oh yeah,
and then pass it to Miles Bridges or whatever his name is, and he shoots a 3. That's not necessarily their game. Chris Paul getting a pick and roll, swing to Devin Booker, drive, kick, Jay Crowder, drive, kick. It's more organic because the team actually is moving and is, they're all dialed in together. The Lakers are standstill one-on-one players, and when they get the ball, they try to ISO, And LeBron is still bigger, stronger, more athletic than other people. And he's like deferring to these absolute trash cans on the court. So to me, they need to put LeBron on the block and then make him a post facilitator, get movement opposite the ball, and figure a way to get the other players moving. And then LeBron can come to him rather than LeBron making it all happen. Because I'm telling you, the LeBron truthers, they have every excuse in the book as to why they're not winning. And one is that, oh, he's got to carry the load. Like, he can't do it all by himself. Like, look at the bums on the court, which is his fault. Well, then, I was told at the gym yesterday that LeBron's not 100%. He shouldn't even be playing. He's hurt. The lob off the backboard to him where his head's at the rim doesn't look too unathletic.
Like, he's like that, not that hurt, right?
So, I mean, you can't make excuses when things don't go bad when he's the sole architect of, of the whole team. And it's disgusting.
Also, too, we talked about this yesterday. LeBron's just athletic and a freak of nature. He's not skilled whatsoever. If you've seen him, if we could insert it, I don't know if you can or not, but him trying to dribble and shake people,
it's just like a
stiff. And man, he's really like not skilled at all. Yeah, he got a better jump shot than what he had before. He can shoot threes way better now. But he just obviously, when he had Chris Paul on him a whole bunch of times, why didn't he just take his ass to the basket?
And Chris Paul's hurt.
To the paint and just threw it and passed it. When they didn't need that at all, they actually needed needed him to start scoring. I just think LeBron, maybe you could say he's hurt, all this shit. He's gonna be hurt now, from now until the end of his career, however long that is now, because he's older. No matter how much he puts into his body now, I don't think that really plays a factor. I think he's just, coming to age to where it's that time to almost retire. And he should have took advantage of a lot of the shit he should have last night. Instead of losing by 30, really could have went to the basket a lot more than what he did, instead of trying to facilitate and get other people involved, because that's definitely what they didn't need last night. It just is what it is, man. Chris Paul didn't even play the second half, really. He played 23 minutes total. That's how much of a, it would look ridiculous. And the people they had on the court with LeBron were just bums. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't make any threes. They couldn't even get to the basket. It was just a horrible game to watch for the Lakers. And I'm not even a Lakers fan. I'm a Kobe Bryant fan. So for all y'all that know me, I've just been a big Kobe fan. And I don't know, man. I think the Lakers might be done. I think next season, I think they'll be the same position they were. No matter if LeBron gets healthy or not, you're still gonna have to deal with Anthony Davis being hurt. He's only completed one full season not hurt in his whole career. So I do see a future of him getting hurt again next year, and it just being the same thing. Same thing.
Yeah. I mean, LeBron is like a blossoming young lad looking at his first Playboy magazine. He's stiff AF, and it's just, he can't. When the people tell me that he's the best player of all time, or that, and also based off of his career, which again, it's, Michael didn't go team up with the bad boys. He didn't go team up with Bird. He didn't go team up with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. He didn't do that. And so when I see LeBron, he can only win with other superstars, and he created this super duper team era. And I think the fact that we're even, I guess, having a conversation about LeBron being washed or not as good, it's a testament to he's 30 something, you said 36 or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's still a great basketball player, but we need to chill on the comparisons, because he's not what some of these other dudes are. Or I told you on that phone call during the game, we're giggling it. They're down 30. It's awful basketball being watched. Put on the Portland game. But for me, LeBron looks like basically Sean Kemp and Magic Johnson had a baby, where he's just he used to be a big freak athlete who had a willingness to pass. When you put your head down and can jump over higher than anyone else on the court, it's not skill that's getting you to the basket over everybody and then laying it in, and one off some soft rep.
That's right, all it is. That's just God giving you the gifts to do all that at the weight you are and be as lean and muscular as you are. That's just what that is. And there's nothing you can compare that to. But I've even told you, I don't even think LeBron's that skilled of a passer. I just think people obviously play off him or play on him at the time just because he couldn't really shoot that well, or he's either gonna get to the basket and just left open for the lane for him to pass. But then
and that's just willingness. Like Kobe could get past his dude helps off. Kobe's still potentially going to shoot that.
Yeah.
LeBron's trying to make passes. So like that's where the magic, if anything, he's an athletic Magic Johnson. But to me, I don't know. It's a moot point because when he's just trying to link up with superstars, and maybe this is just the old head in me. I still think it's kind of ridiculous that, LeBron had to go play with 2 top 5 players in the NBA to win a championship, and then has to go back to Cleveland with like arguably 2 top 5 players in the NBA, like top 10 players in the NBA. It's, and then you're gonna he makes, like, at this point in his career, I remember when the Lakers got together and he got Anthony Davis. I said, Anthony Davis is the dude on this team. I hope that he doesn't make him just a jump shooter like he did Kevin Love and Chris Bosh, because Anthony Davis is that guy. LeBron needs to defer, and then they like moved him to point guard and stuff. I mean,
and to your point, LeBron did, but he just gets hurt so much. And like I said, last year doesn't really count for you to see Anthony's durability. Because it was obviously the pandemic happened, and then so they had 3 months, maybe 3.5, 4 to like just chill, and then they started up the bubble, and the bubble was 2 months. So yeah, and then the protocols for any way to stay healthy and safe happened. So obviously they're gonna find ways for him to be healthy. So last year you didn't see him get hurt as often as he is this year and in years in the past. So I don't know. I like I said, I also agree with you back then when you did say now that he's on this team, it's Anthony's team, which is true. And you can see LeBron did defer to him a lot, as he did lead the team in scoring and everything like this. But you can't be hurt and expect all this shit to happen.
And it's unfortunate that he gets hurt. I don't also want to mitigate the fact that he's injured. Like, that sucks. I mean, we know injuries, but at the same time, Laker fans they're an obnoxious bunch. Not all of them, but a lot of them actually didn't even like LeBron before he went there. And then you kind of have to root for him because you're rooting for the franchise. And I get that. It would be like my Jaguars in the NFL picking, getting someone that I absolutely couldn't stand. I'm ride or die with that franchise. I bleed teal, but this is a basketball podcast. But but I know a lot of dudes who didn't even like LeBron. I mean, La Flop, La Cry, La Mickey Mouse. Again, between the lines or outside the gym, great guy, philanthropist. Let's grab a burger, LeBron. Let's make a movie. But inside those lines, not a fan. Just not a fan. The only time I was a LeBron fan was when he became a villain in Miami, just for a short stint. I was like, man, that's kind of crazy how he just chooses to go work somewhere else and people hate him. But then when you talk about legacy, when you think about like the slap in the face to all the players that came before it, sort of like we talked about the officiating, no one else just chose player empowerment. That's great. But no one else just chose to go team up with 2 other, Olympic players in order to win a championship because you couldn't do it in your hometown, which was kind of ridiculous. So LeBron, keep building schools. You're not going to win another championship anytime soon. Hope you get to play with your son if he ever makes it to the league. I just, basketball is just, it's rough right now. It's real rough for me.
Yeah, and for all you Suns fans out there, and it's not because the Suns are just that great. Let me wrong. I think they're good. I think Chris Paul is the reason why all this is happening, but Healthy Anthony Davis, totally different story, as we saw in the 2 wins that they did have.
If Chris Paul is not healthy in the second round, you're getting bounced pretty quick. So no.
I think even if he is, I don't even know who they play, but we've seen every other series besides this one, and they're tough. So yeah, I think they're having a rough second round. Things will be really bad for the Suns.
It'll be.
We're coming from an objective. We're not Suns fans at all. We're just basketball fans who, got to fight against this game right now.
I'm a fan of like vintage, classic grown man basketball, 90s, early 2000s, when there's actual pedigree, OGs, and they play the game the right way. I don't know what this little candy corn, little Uzi Vert bullshit is that we're playing now. But me, I'm running out of gas watching all this, fucking Powerpuff bullshit out there. Put me in the corner for $60 million. I'll hit a jumper. Fuck.
Or not, because you get paid either way. So I was born 10 years, a little too soon. And as were you. I could be Wesley Matthews.
I could be Ben McLemore. I can hit the side of the backboard, and I can play no D, and I can drive to the lane, bobble it, and act like I'm calling out plays, get super blasted, tatted like that. I mean, and I had bounce back in the day. Those of you who know, which not a lot of you do, this white boy could jump, and so I could be Ben McLemore. Let me sit on the bench for $2 million. That's it. But, it is what it is.
But yeah. That's our soliloquy today.
Follow the pod, like the pod.
Tell us good shit.
If you agree with our takes or not. I don't know. I just feel like I'm a broken record. I hate the NBA now. So let me know if the white dude needs to shut the fuck up, and I gladly will. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm
not gonna shut the fuck up. I'm gonna keep
I'm not gonna shut it for chopping wood. Check out our other podcast, Chopping Wood. A plug for that.
Yeah, we got some good shit on there too. So let's go check it out, like, subscribe, and all that shit to that channel too, or to that
playlist. Yeah. Check it out. And we'll see you guys on the wood later days.